morning, friends. I deem it a great honor to welcome our stalwart of the city, Shri Pradeep Narang Saab, and Mrs. Belu Nehra, the two from Shri Aurobindo Society. And the occasion, as you all know, is a MOU signing ceremony between Shri Aurobindo Society and our university. Probably you would have known that ever since I have come to the university, the first thing that I noticed was that our university somehow, for whatever reasons, best known to either the city dwellers or to the so-called administrators of those who are connected with Shri Aurobindo or Auroville for that matter, there was virtually no connection between our university and Shri Aurobindo's philosophy. Though on paper people would talk, when I was trying to visit Pondicherry in good old days, say 90 onwards, I probably would have narrated this on 3-4 occasions. I tried visiting Pondicherry from Chennai on 3 different occasions, but I failed. I failed so miserably that one time I had devoted full day to this, that I must go and visit Pondicherry, visit ashram. But as the luck will have it, I could not make it. For the reasons I will not explain. I had to go back after spending 3 hours on the road, eventually telling the director, the institute which I was visiting, that well, we couldn't make it this time also. And unfortunately, the car that was given to me was a brand new car which the director had got from the CSI pool just 3 days back. So you will understand, when it is not destined, you are not able to make it. And finally, I had a burning desire that I must visit Pondicherry, and then Almighty landed me here, to be here for a good length of time. So when I joined here, there was no connection. I was surprised. I said, how come? Ideally, the university should have been named as Shri Aurobindo University. Because this city exists because of the philosophy of Shri Aurobindo. But then, that is how things were. And then I started discussing with some of the heads, some of the deans, that how best we can propagate this philosophy into our university academic domains. Though the movement was slow, but then we did design some courses related to philosophy of Mother and Shri Aurobindo, and our philosophy department, when Professor Srinivasan, who was heading the department, along with some others, and we did design 1 or 2 courses which people started teaching, and some people from Shri Aurobindo Society also came once in a while. And subsequently, that didn't take off the way we wanted. It was on a very slow note. And I have always been pressing hard that we should have more collaboration, more relation, more understanding. But things went on like that. And then I, after a considerable effort, met senior officials in Delhi, talked to them that we need to have this. Some were very cool, some were very, very non-responsive, some were equally enthusiastic. That yes, it's a very important issue. I don't know why there were divergent set of opinions, but then I stuck to my word that whatever faith, belief, religion, practices, conventions you come from, the fact of the matter is Shri Aurobindo's contribution cannot be undermined. I don't know how many of you have gone through, but then if you look at the study, the 5 dreams which were now, I think, put up in one of the halls which I visited, and the original thinking that Shri Aurobindo imparted to our generations cannot be forgotten, cannot be undermined, cannot be kept aside. One of the important things which very few people would talk about is the work on nationalism, Rash Darshan as we call it in Hindi. The very first original work has come from Shri Aurobindo. And that philosophy should have been propagated in a better sense But I do not know, for whatever reasons, that this is something we'll dwell more as we move on. Why it could not be taken to the extent the philosophy deserved. The writings are there, the enthusiasts are there, a lot of enthusiasm is there amongst the younger generation also, but it remained somehow in the boxes. I visited ashram when I came here, I visited Aurobindo, I visited society offices also, I visited everywhere in city. And then we said, well, one of the best ways would be that we formalize it. We formalize, we design courses, and when it will be a part of the regular courses of the university, then people would automatically get into this. And to do that, the other binding factor would be if we can have Shri Aurobindo chair in our university. So there, probably, you may not know, it was a relentless effort of good 2 years that ultimately it came through with a very paltry budget, but then they said you accept it, we will enhance it as and when the need would be there and the pressure would be there. That's more important in our country. How much you can persuade the other side that we really need it, then things work out. And here in that line, we were, I will say, eventually successful. We could get the chair, it came in a formal manner. Budget was also there, though not to the extent I would have loved to have it. But then, as they say, if you have to begin, you have to take a first step. So it's a first step in that direction. Whatever way it has come, we welcome that. And whatever budget we have, we will do our best within that and we'll try to enhance to the best of our capabilities, maybe through our own resources and through the resources which the administrators or those who matter would deem it proper. I'm sure they will. Therefore, we inaugurated, we started, we appointed a person, people have started working in that direction. We have designed some courses as well, and we'll plan to have some more courses in that. Now, this would be better done if you have some understanding, some formal agreement. If I say you have to come at 11 here and work till 1, then things get going. If I tell somebody that, well, you come leisurely whenever you feel like, do something on this and get back, let me tell you, in the first 2-3 days, one would come leisurely, and after that, one would say, why go there? Things are on. But if there is a specific thing that you have to work for it, people would make sure that they are doing that work. So this is a step in that direction. When we say MOU, there will be a clear, formal, on paper understanding that this is what we have to do, and it's a step forward in that. Now, it should be a matter of pride for all of us. See, for better understanding, better peace, better cooperation, better sense of coexistence, if these factors have to be there, then I think there can be nothing better than Sri Aurobindo's philosophy. You trace down the religious history of our country, starting from ancient days, from Cholas, then to in between many others, and then finally to Mughals, and then to Britishers, and then to some of our religious reformers, social reformers. They all have worked in this direction, where the latest work in the late 50s came from Sri Aurobindo and Mother's philosophy. Fortunately, they were here, and many would have interacted with them. I'm sure you would have seen both of them. Many have been fortunate enough to physically interact with them. So this is a step in that direction. If that has to be propagated, I'm sure there will be a better understanding. If I say that had this philosophy been there, I don't think things like Mizoram and Nu would have happened in our country. It's a reality. Whatever way you may call it, people will give all kinds of colors to these incidents. They will give their own interpretation, own studies will be there, own research will be there in this direction. But I will just sum it in this one sentence. Had this been understood properly in the right light, probably these things wouldn't have happened. We would have had a better country to be in. Not that we are not in a better country. Our country is surging ahead very fast. But then these minor aberrations that we find here, painful aberrations of the kinds which I have said, would not be there in our country. And that's what we are looking forward to. We are looking forward to a society which should have an absolute harmonious living, egalitarian society, and that would be there if this philosophy is kept in mind. Not only kept in mind, if it is propagated further. See, unfortunately, when we move across from the boundaries of Pondicherry and go over to eastern side or western side or northern side for that matter, well, few patches of excellence towards this philosophy, towards this work, you don't find it as a generality. And that would be there if things like MOU that we are signing would be there, and eventually it shall percolate to the other universities as well. And with the national education policy on the anvil now, wherein we are talking about number of skill-based courses, this would be a great step forward, wherein we'll have skill-based courses on philosophy, on peace, on harmonious solution would emerge, and all universities would say that if they could do it, why not other universities? And that's the aim with which we have gathered here to sign the MOU. As I said, the work has already begun. It has begun in right earnest. We need to take it forward. And to carry it forward, I suppose there can be nothing else other than an event of this kind. I'm sure it will go a long way in achieving our targets, which we have set for ourselves. And that prime target is harmonious living amongst various sects of our country. And that would be achieved best if this is propagated further. Well, when I looked at it, I got so carried away by the fact that we are into an MOU. I forgot to welcome our stalwarts, Mr. Pradeep Narang, who has been serving the society for good 4 decades, am I right? Or maybe more?
Maybe 5.
5 decades. 5 decades he's been serving here. And Mrs. Belu Mehra has been there. You would have met her during the exhibition or some lectures which she had delivered in those courses.
Last birth also, sir.
Sorry?
She and I met in the last birth also.
So that's also a firm belief in our society, that we believe in rebirth, which is a fact. So I welcome them here, and I welcome all of you who have gathered here and who have spared their time to witness this. I will call it historic ceremony, because if this moves further in the right direction, in right manner, I suppose maybe after 30, 40, 40, 60, 7, 8 decades, it will be seen as a historic event, that the beginning was made from Pondicherry University and Sri Aurobindo Society. That's what our aim is. So with that, these words, I welcome them, and I would urge all our colleagues here that let this not be a formal MOU which shall remain on paper. Let it not be a dormant MOU. Let it be a very active MOU. And in that direction, I welcome all of you, from whatever belief you come in. I welcome you to design a skill-based course or ideas which will propagate this philosophy. You need not worry about that you cannot design something which should be for 80 lectures or 40 lectures. Even if it is for 2 lectures, we will welcome that. They say any contribution, even if it's a drop, makes a lot of difference. And how much a drop can make a difference, I will tell you. Put a drop of KCN in a swimming pool, potassium cyanide, and then you will see anybody who gets into it will reach heavens in no time. That is what the power of a drop is. Similarly, if a drop from this philosophy is put in a swimming pool or a pool of nectar, if the drop goes there, you see how much enlightened we shall be. That's the way you have to look at it. So every drop shall count. So I invite you people to enrich it, to cooperate, to support, and to put in your best in whatever manner you can. That's ultimately the aim, and that will go a long way. Well, I do get emotional on occasions when we talk about such a philosophy or on such an occasion, which should have been there long time back. 85, 90, it should have been there. But we have not been able to do it. But then let me tell you, no stage is late in life. Any stage you begin and you'll find things will get going. I remember there was a Air Marshal, I'm forgetting the name, Raja Ramnan, I suppose. He was very fond of running, but he never got time. And when he retired, he says, I'll take to marathon running. And now he's about 89, he's written 4 books on, the titles are Run, Run and Run. And now he runs and he participates in marathons. Then Fauja Singh, who was 102 when he won the London Marathon, they all said, well, nothing is late in life. Anytime you can begin. So this is, take it that way, that nothing is late. We are starting, and let's hope we are able to enshrine this in the hearts and minds of city here, so that this is carried further, and we'll take pride eventually that we were the real catalyst who kindled this in our city. Thank you very much for sparing your time and coming here.
Very nice.
Welcome.
Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Gurmeet Singh, Sri Pradeep Narayan, Chairman, Sri Aurobindo Society, Dr. Belu Mehra from Society, Director of Studies, Professor Tarani Karsu, Registrar, Professor Bhutani, Finance Officer, Professor Lajar, Deans, Heads, Faculty Members, research scholars. I cordially invite you all on behalf of the Office of the International Relations to the signing ceremony of MOU between Pondicherry University and Sri Aurobindo Society. And this is the time for us to spread the message of Sri Aurobindo, because Aurobindo is seen as a freedom fighter, as a spiritual leader, as a nationalist, as a revolutionist, as also thinker, as also writer and poet. I think this is the time for us to look at how relevant Sri Aurobindo to us, particularly in academics. And we also see that in the recent times when we're talking about how India is also seen by the rest of the world as a global leader, and also we are talking about in recent G20 university connectors. We are looking at that government has taken Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam as a theme, where we are talking about unity, we are talking about universal brotherhood, we are talking about humanity. And in perhaps when you're talking about this Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, I think precisely we have to showcase our strength, and we have to look back about the spiritual leaders, how they were spreading these messages of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. And also it is deeply rooted in our foreign policy when you look at either in looking at NAM or looking at disarmament or climate change, or particularly during this COVID time, how though we are suffering, but still we extended our medical support to 80 to 100 countries, and also during tsunami, how India was demonstrating its brotherhoodness. I think perhaps these are all very, very important for us to look at how we can look at the legacy of the spiritual leaders left to us, and also now these earlier we used to look at West, but now West is looking at us, what we should tell them. And this is the time for us to look at how we can navigate the ideas or the philosophy which was shared by our spiritual leaders. I think that is something very important for us to look at, because we are not seen by the rest of the world not as rule takers, but also rule shapers and rule makers. I think this is time for us to look at how we are abide by the rules, we never violated any rule, because these are all the legacy left by the spiritual leaders and philosophers like Sri Aurobindo. And also, as mentioned by Honorable Vice Chancellor, this is the beginning where Sri Aurobindo Society and Pondicherry University.
Thank you, sir. It's always a pleasure being with the Vice Chancellor because he exudes a tremendous amount of energy. Energy which is palpable. I've always felt this, and the enthusiasm that he exudes is something quite remarkable. So what he has spoken of about this MOU today is he's spoken with a lot of feelings, and I can assure you, sir, that we receive the same kind of intense feeling that you have expressed today. To us, this MOU is very important because Aurobindo's yoga, when I say yoga, I talk of union with the divine force, is something very different to any other yoga. I'm not saying this because I'm involved in this with my heart and soul, my body, my mind. I'm involved in this not because there's any reason to say that, but looking at it in a very third-partish way, in a very objective manner. This is Vidisha touched upon this, is something that transforms your life. And that transformation sets in when you understand from here, you feel it here, and then you implement it in practice. Sri Aurobindo's yoga has been understood by the mind to some extent. But there is the basic strain of bhakti in his yoga, which also the heart understands. But the practice of it is not easy. Hence the propagation, as the Vice Chancellor was mentioning, has not been up to the mark. This is not a religion, let it be understood very, very clearly, because the problem with the left and the right and the etc. goes on is because they don't understand the difference between spirituality and religion. That's the basic problem that we have today. You look at any religion, the Sikh religion or the Hindu religion or the Muslim religion or the Christian religion, if you see the core of the religion is spiritual. It's a spiritual instruction given by the Guru concerned. As simple as that. How to live life. How to be connected with the highest force which can permeate into your life and you have the right kind of growth. So if you see what Guru Nanak said, you see what Muhammad has said. Love, compassion. Look at the love and love thy neighbor. I mean, it's all the commandments you take anything, any religion, its basic core, if you go to the core, it is spiritual. What has happened, sir? I'll take you why it has happened. When I'm taking an example from any religion which started, and the Guru came with all the vision and all the force that he received, and he passed it on to some disciples who were very few. And as the time came for the Guru to leave his body, the disciples concerned, maybe they were 8 or 10 or 15 in number, so very small, they didn't know what would happen with this because we have been able to absorb what the Guru has said. But what will happen after we have gone? So how do we perpetuate this message from God which has come through our Guru? See, we as human beings perceive something only through our senses, the 5 senses. And we don't perceive God with our senses. This is a basic problem. We don't see Him, we don't smell Him, we don't taste Him, we don't touch Him. So where is He? How do we then perpetuate this message from God? And this system as evolved of religion was that if you go to any religious entity, or say you go to a temple or you go to a church, you find all 5 senses being satisfied. You have Agarbatti, you have gong, you have prasad, you have murti, all 5 senses. So when you go to a religious place, I have come to God's house. God was established in our life through some religion or the other. Let's face it. All of us have come to know God's existence through some religion or the other, and that was the role of religion. It did perpetuate God in our lives. And hence it grew. And it unfortunately grew in a direction which has become not very positive, politics came into it, various other money came into it, all kinds of things, leadership set in. What happened was, we read a lot, but we have not practiced it. He mentioned about the propagation part of it. And I mentioned this to Richard before, that Aurobindo in his fourth dream has specifically stated the practice of spirituality. The practice of spirituality is a very specific, a very pointed way of living life according to his vision. Is you practice it, bring it down into your life. And it's not a question of what you're doing, but why are you doing it? What is behind it? It's like the famous story of the person who's making stones. Somebody asked him, I'm making a living. The second one said, I'm trying to get richer or something. The third one said, I'm building a masjid. Same action. It's a very, very well-known story. So how do we practice it is the issue here. First, to understand what spirituality is all about, it is not religion. It's a very mistaken notion. People go on confusing between religious leaders and spiritual leaders and religion and spirituality, etc. etc. We talk of spiritual tourism, we talk of golden temple. It's not spiritual. I mean, you feel spiritual, but that's another issue. But there is no tourism involved. You want to have spiritual tourism, you go within. You have inner countries. They will be an inner life. You want that tourism, you go within, not without. It's not possible to have spiritual tourism at the top. So, what we are trying to do here is primarily to understand the vision and put it into our practice. That's why Aurobindo is yoga, we call it yoga. All life is yoga. No, it's a sentence that he has very profoundly brought to our notice. All life is yoga. Every second, every minute, every hour is yoga. Yoga means connected with him. So how you eat, how you sleep, how you shower. I know of a lady, she said, when I have a bath, I feel that golden light is coming to me through the shower. Right? It's a spiritual experience. It's a question of how you visualize it. And this is how you put it in practice. It permeates you. Your entire being is permeated. Your mind, heart, body, through the under the light of the spirit. Once that begins to happen, all the changes go. And as the Gurmisi is saying, that he could not understand why the university and Aurobindo did not come into a synthesis or did not go together. It is, frankly, that day when the chair was installed, I have mentioned, and I wonder if, as Gurmisi remembers, is that he has completed the university by installing this chair. Because to have not having this chair in Pondicherry is something bizarre actually. And it happened totally set both of you enthusiasm. We did not get any response from the university earlier on. And there was also these wrong notions about religion, that we are talking about religion, this is Hindu. For instance, Aurobindo has been called a Hindu, which is amazing to us. You can't understand this. Born Hindu, yes. Born Bengali, yes. But what is a Hindu? Hindu is not Hinduism or the narrow going to temples and ringing the bells. And you enter God's house when you there for 10 minutes, and you come out, then God is inside or outside. So the connection breaks. So as Aurobindo says, that religion has played a role, and that role is over. It's like a scaffolding which you can go building something, and then the building is ready, you get off the scaffolding, and scaffolding goes off also. But we love to sit on the scaffolding. So these are some of the issues that we have to think about, talk about, and practice itself. And without the fear that it could be misunderstood as a religious practice. And I know the areas from which this thought comes, it is totally misunderstood. Because if you really understood the spirit that you're trying to contact here, from here, deep down here, there is no misunderstanding, because it's the same spirit that permeates you as it permeates me. There is automatic cohesion and oneness that comes about. There's unity that comes about. It's automatic. It's an automatic connection that takes place. There's nothing to talk about, nothing to compromise about, or into it. It happens automatically. So the steps are historic, I believe. This is a historic step. And I can assure you, sir, that on behalf of the society, we go out of our way in whatever we want to do. And collaborate on this level of the MOU, whatever it needs to. Even if financial collaboration is required, we're quite open. Because I know the constraints that the university has, the budget constraints and all the red tapeism that you have to go through to implement things. I quite understand that. In that case, we're quite ready to have certain functions, and we could come up with a financial collaboration also. We have no objection to that. And anything for this mission to succeed, we're quite there with you all the time. Thank you.
I would really, from the bottom of my heart, like to thank our respected Vice Chancellor, sir, for his kind cooperation and for making something possible which should have been done almost, I think, 40 years ago. And it happened in his leadership, under his guidance. And I would really like to thank him humbly from the bottom of my heart for continuously being a source of inspiration for this noble endeavor. So thank you so much, sir. I would like to thank Director Studies, Professor Tharini Karasu, our respected Registrar, Professor Rajneesh Bhutani, our Finance Officer, Professor Lazar, without whom all this won't be possible, Professor Raju, Dean International Relations, Shri Pradeep Narayanji, the Chairman of Aurobindo Society, and I would like to take 1 minute to express my gratitude towards him, because he's always been like this father figure for me since the day I met him. And he's so flexible and so sincere. And we recently had a seminar at Aurobindo Society on 21st of August. And so we were supposed to be paying for lunch, so the university was supposed to be paying for lunch. I'm mentioning this incident because it really touched my heart. And the society arranged for the lunch, and there were some issues, some problems that we faced. So Beluji and Pradeep ji, they called up and they said that we will not be charging you for the food. And it was a lunch for 110 people, 110 students from the university, because of the problem with the issues that we had with the lunch. And that is the kind of sincerity and that is the kind of organization that Pondicherry University is associating itself with. So, I'm so grateful and thankful to you. Planning and Development Section, EMRC, PRO, Engineering Section, members of the press, and dear PhD scholars. So I extend my humble gratitude and thanks to all of you who have been directly and indirectly instrumental in making this a success and making this possible. Thank you.